This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Quick note, Grace's audio is a bit messed up this episode, entirely my own fault. So apologies, but we hope you still enjoy this episode. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we are your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we are back with our new show, The Funky Phantom. This week, Alexis will be telling us her first episode of the show. If you guys recall, last episode, I had strictly told her not to watch it before I did my episode because I wanted her to share the type of reactions that you all would be having in all of my descriptions. But now she has obviously watched it, I would assume, for her first episode. But
oops, nope, I forgot.
She could wing it. I'd believe her because this show is also crazy because it's from the 70s Hanna-Barbera show.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this makes sense. So with that, I'll pass it over to you. I'd love to get your first impressions of this show and then hear your episode.
Boy.
Or read them in. I don't know. Live your best life. You tell me.
I am. Thank you. I'm still hungover from the Piranha plot, so I'm still living my best life, actually, a few weeks back.
We're deeply in that era still.
So I will say you did a great job last week and,
thank you.
Warming us up. Yeah, toss. No, you can brag. You did a great job. You did. I think you did absolutely everything that any reasonable person could do to prepare one for this show before diving into it. But might I still say, no one could do anything to prepare me fully for this show, given even everything you did and how much I love the main character, the namesake, the Funky Phantom himself. But more. I think in this, I don't say this lightly. I love Scooby-Doo, like the character Scooby himself. But Mudsie, he's in a close second now. It's like maybe him, Courage, and Mudsie for different, or Scooby, Courage, and Mudsie, and like different reasons.
Yes,
as to why I think they are the best. Exactly. They all got their own thing. They bring their own thing to the table. And Mudsie's, it is sass and fabulosity to the max. So I'm very excited for this show. Thank you for making me wait. It was worth it. And today's episode is pretty ridiculous, on par with your last episode.
Good.
Today we're going to talk about episode 2. As per usual, you do episode 1, and I'm just like, all right, I'll do episode 2 then. And this one came out September 18th, 1971. And the name of the episode, it's called Heir Scare. So,
how is Heir spelled?
Heir.
Okay, got it.
So again, I believe this is 2 episodes for me in a row where I'm talking about wills. Literally, my last episode of Jabberjaw was the one where Jabber got that will, or he was willed the gold mine or whatever. In this one, we've got another heir coming in.
We'll talk about it. A Scooby-Doo like winter one.
Yeah, a Scooby-Doo one and a Rescue Rangers one. So I think the theme here is that any it's weird, and I didn't even do that well in Wills and Estates either. So I don't know why, but anytime I see a will come up in a plot, I'm gonna do that episode. That's just like the new rule, I guess, for me. If there's a will and a gerbil, I'm on it.
If there's a will,
there's a gerbil, there's a way. So, okay. I did break this down also into 5 parts again, just because now it's easier for my mind, but I did not name these ones. So I'm just going to say part 1 of today's episode. It starts as most of the other episodes of this show start with the gang driving their dune buggy, which I noticed is also called the Looney Dooney. I don't know if you mentioned that last week, but
that's
painted.
It's painted on it.
It has it like painted on the door. Yeah. And there's like an American flag, or actually it's not an American flag. It kind of looks like a Cuban flag or something because it's only like 1 star.
Yeah, it's like an OG flag, but yeah, I agree. Definitely was a Cuban flag.
Yeah. the dune buggies all over the place, quite
The
frankly.
loony
It's just like
doony.
they put a bunch it is very loony, the loony doony. So anyway, they're driving this dune buggy deep through a dark, scary forest. It's late at night, and eventually they realize that they are lost. And as they're all arguing about who essentially the better driver is, who's the smartest, like the things they're always arguing over, who April should be dating,
They throw that
example.
in there.
Skip, who is the one driving, he accidentally drives the dune buggy directly into a river. Oops, like classic mistake.
So I'm the best driver.
Yeah.
Okay, so
April, you see
maybe
how
I'm
good
not
my
the best
parking
driver.
skills are?
Maybe I'm not the best driver, but April, shouldn't you still date me?
Yeah. Because April, I believe that women are also great drivers. So I think you should do the driving.
See, look, men can't even drive, April.
Yeah.
But you could.
So as the dune buggy is like parked head first into this river, Skip tells Mudsie and Boo to go like walk around the forest to see like where they are or if they can figure out like where to find help or directions on how to not only get out of this river but also get out of these dark, scary woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mudsie and Boo, they're scoping out the situation. They're walking around, and because it's dark, much like Skip did, they find themselves like right into a river or right into a river as well. They just like fall right in. And as they're kind of like walking or wading out of this river, although you say great, which is funny, but like they're ghosts. So like, do they even get wet at the same time?
So nothing happened.
Yeah, I know. So okay, they just float right back out.
And also,
Like
I was like, why are they sending them to go find help? People are going to not help them. They're ghosts. They're going to freak out if they see them.
they're just gonna like have a heart attack and die. So the only people that could help them get just like die, drop down in the middle of
Exactly.
the forest. Yeah. That honestly, put it well, no, don't put a pin in that. Like this is what they do. We know this by now. We're only 2 episodes in, and they put
Yeah.
too much faith in Mudsie and Boo and like forget that people can't interact with them sometimes.
Yeah. Although I guess
Anyways,
it's smart to be like, we're in an unknown, terrifying place where like scary things could be. You're already dead. You know, lost us. Go
this is
ahead.
true. A bear
You come
can't kill
report back.
you. You're already
Yeah.
dead. Yeah.
You come
And
let
but you
us
can at
know
the
where
same
we should
time
go.
exactly yell to us that a bear is coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, they fall into this river or like this marshy water. And soon after, as Mudsie is saying something like complaining about his feet getting wet or something like that, he then starts to shake and gets very scared as he hears groaning and this like loud kind of roaring coming from the other side of the marsh. And he looks up and he sees actually what would be very, very terrifying, a massive, like, marsh monster,
Oh.
swamp thing looking creature or man thing, depending on which comics you read, just covered, draped in like long, shaggy moss, slowly just like wading its way through this water, but kind of like stomping at the same time. So it's like shaking the ground, but splashing, and
Yeah.
just to show how fucking big this thing
Yeah.
is. And it's
And we're
walking in like a
scary.
zombie like stare or state. Yeah, very scary, like mindless almost. And so this thing obviously scares the bejesus out of Mudsie and Boo. And so they run back to the rest of the gang and try to tell them about this monster. But the gang, like, obviously is not believing them. Like, oh, yeah, sure, a monster. It was probably just that tree over there or something. But
Wow, so they're going to send him out for information and then not
and
believe
then
his
literally,
information.
like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's Augie who discredits him so quickly. Like, sure, you saw that tree. And this is the first of many times in this episode that Augie is such an asshole. He just,
Interesting.
yeah,
jock.
April, I hope you're watching. He is a jock. He is a jock. Skip's like,
Pay
yeah,
attention,
Augie,
April.
you're so mean. Yeah. So this the gang, they don't believe Mudsie and Boo, and they're like, look, dude, you're going crazy, you're scared, it's nothing, it's just like the trees and stuff around here. And April, meanwhile, she's like, okay guys, shut up, stop arguing, look on top of that hill over there, there's a massive mansion and the lights are on inside, so maybe if we go up there, the homeowners are going to give us some help and or give us directions on how to get out of here. Because
Also, what if this just
always go to the
suddenly
stranger's house. Yeah.
what if this just suddenly turned into Rocky Horror Picture Show, but starring Mudsie?
Who we
Like
already said could have in his heyday been played by Sir
Tim Curry. Exactly.
So it's all coming full circle.
God, what I would pay for both Tim Curry playing both roles in that film. Anyways,
you like see him doing the outfit changes.
Yeah, a girl can dream.
That's all we can do. But yeah, I'm gonna dream hard. Part 2, right?
The House on the Hill.
Yes. Oh, damn! Why didn't I think of that?
I got you.
Well, part 2, The House on the Hill.
Wow!
Thank you. Such a good name. So the gang, they get to this house, which again, it's like a classic Hanna-Barbera, like old decrepit looking mansion. It's not like some glamorous place where one would typically be like, oh yes, they look like they would be very friendly and would help us out or would, have a nice towel or something blanket to keep us warm. Like, no, this place looks like it probably has holes in the walls and like homeless people, maybe like with a shiv in there that you have to avoid. And they're like, yes, this place looks perfect. But when they get up there, they get a better look at it and they agree. They're like, okay, no, this maybe was not the right place to come to.
Yeah.
This looks terrifying. And they're all kind of arguing like, what? Like, who's gonna knock on the door? Like, I don't want to knock. You knock. I don't want to knock. But eventually none of them have to knock. And the door just opens up on its own. And again, in classic Hanna-Barbera fashion, a very terrifying looking butler opens the door.
Describe him to me.
He looks literally exactly like the butler from that one episode of Scooby-Doo. He had a crazy name that we were making fun of.
The really tall, like long face.
Yeah, long face, like, kind of like a little bit of black hair, but mostly bald.
Yeah. It's the same butler. They just changed his height somewhat.
Basically, they made him a little bit shorter and made his face like his cheeks a little bit like fatter. But other than that, that's it. He looks very angry and upset though, as per usual. Yeah, same skin color, everything like not only did I jump when he gets on the screen, but the kids also they all jump like, whoa. Maybe that's why this guy looks so angry and is very unwelcoming to them. Because as soon as he opens the door, before the kids can even say anything, he just tells them to go away. Like, he doesn't say welcome, he doesn't say hello, he doesn't say who are you, he just says go away. And Skip, he's a little nervous now and like, well, we were just looking to like figure out where we are. Like, we just want to know where we are. And the butler says, well, you aren't wanted here. And then like starts to shut the door on their face, which savage and rude, but absolutely also respect this dude.
Yes. I mean, honestly,
like, do your job. Yeah. Same.
I wouldn't even open the door for them.
Yeah. I would just like let them freeze out there in the cold rain or something. Like, no, get out of here. Turn the lights off, everybody. They see you through the window going to turn the lights off.
Closing the blinds.
Peeking at them through it and then closing.
No one's home.
Go away. So yeah, hilariously though, as soon as the butler says this, like, well, you aren't wanted here, we see from behind him appears a very young, coiffed and suited man. He comes out of the doorway and he says, oh, come on in, fellas. Don't pay any attention to him. Which
a typical scenario as well. Oh, my paid help. Yeah, he sucks. Come on in.
He sucks. He doesn't know shit. Ignore him.
What am I paying him for? I don't even know.
Yeah. So, yes, inside, the young man, he welcomes the gang to what is apparently called Conway Mansion. In April, she thanks him for letting them in, and he responds by essentially saying, like, well, this actually works perfectly because I just so happen to need some witnesses to the reading of my uncle's will. And that reading is conveniently happening in the next room over, conveniently in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So this is
Great.
great. I don't I don't know who he was planning on having serve as his witnesses beforehand,
The
but
swamp monster.
well, yeah. He's like, we were just gonna leave the door open and hopefully he came in in time. So so the gang, the butler, and a housemaid. And by the way,
Okay.
the butler, we later find out the butler's name is Henry, and this housemaid, her name is Martha. Mr. Conway affectionately calls her Sweet Martha.
Okay.
And the young Mr. Conway himself, they make their way to the dining room where the estate executor or like the lawyer, whomever who's reading out the will, his name is Mr. Lynch. He's already in there in the dining room and he's ready to tell everyone what they've got. And
Mhm.
so he reads aloud, from this big like scroll of paper.
That's how I'm going to do my will.
Same,
Hold
right?
up
Like
parchment.
with the little like the metal tips or something
Yeah.
that you have to yes,
Scroll.
precisely. I'm gonna hire someone to read it like I don't know if I want to, it's
Like
got
a
to be someone.
herald.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like it's got to be like a bishop or something like that,
Yeah.
wearing like a big hat and all
Yeah.
this like even if I'm not
Harry,
religious,
Harry.
like ringing bells as you walk
Yeah.
in the room, except like I don't own shit. So it's also like
It's going to be
Aaron
so full
Bird,
of
you get
nothing.
Alexis's laptop. Austin Bird, you get all of her pictures of Reese, the beagle. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be like such worthless stuff. They will have to sit and listen to
well,
all of it.
it would
Be
have been
read
a
by the
lot more
Herald.
if I didn't pay all the money for the Herald to do the reading and for like
And
the like
this is
papyrus paper or
this
something.
historically accurate and aged papyrus and ink, the gold inlay that it was made with to unfurl it, the gold
Literally
horn
cost like
that the
$20
trumpet
million.
yeah, play as the herald walks in.
Like part of the Shroud of Turin is like it's written on that.
They also must read it from a balcony with your family standing below.
Releasing like 30 doves or something. like roses. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's gonna
quite
be
the
beautiful.
event. It'll be beautiful. Yeah, it'll be beautiful. Sorry. Anyway. So slightly less beautiful is the reading of this one,
Ah,
though. Mr. Lynch, he says, I, Finmore Conway, leave to my heirs the following.
uh-oh.
To my dedicated servants, I leave the sum of $1 to be divided equally in gratitude
Oh my
for
God.
their dedicated efforts to steal my fortune.
Oh, whoa, hold on.
Plot twist. Yeah. He had me in the first half.
I was like, wow, what a dick, but whoa, what a turn of events.
I was like, I need that backstory. And in response to this, the maid and the butler are obviously pissed. They're like, the Henry the butler is like, that greedy old miser. Which for a split second, I was like, you tell him, Henry. And I was like, but wait a minute. We all heard
Didn't he
that.
just say?
Did y'all try to steal his fortune?
I need that to be its own episode.
I
Like,
do.
also, was this man murdered by them
Exactly.
trying to get the fortune?
Save it for some wild speculation at the end because yeah, I mean this is now central to the plot. I think I know we're laughing at it now, it's hilarious, but yes, this is central to the plot
Okay,
because while while Henry the butler and Sweet Martha the maid only get 50 cents each apparently out of this will, which I should have seen how much that's worth now. I guess this was 1971 or something.
I mean, it's
That
still not
might
this man's
be
fortune.
oh, no. Not even close. Because, like, yes, this house is run down, but it's still a massive mansion.
Mm.
And of course, it goes to, as the next sentence of the will
Yes.
describes or declares it goes to his nephew, Michael Conway. But there's a little caveat about him getting this mansion. With it, Mr. Lynch says, also comes its secret.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, maybe now the
I
maid and
love
the
this great
butler are
uncle.
like, ooh, okay. Maybe we didn't want this mansion. What is the secret?
Yeah.
But yes, this uncle, he sounds like he was quite the character. And
Yeah, he sounds fun.
and let me tell you just how fun this guy sounds. Because Michael Conway, the nephew, he's shocked to hear of these secrets. He's like, secrets? Mr. Lynch, what do you mean? And Mr. Lynch, he's like, well, let me clarify. And we're going to assume this guy is like the lawyer who wrote the will because it'll make this scenario even funnier in my mind. Not just like some guy that is hired to read it, but the actual lawyer. Yeah. So Mr. Lynch is like, well, he didn't actually mean secrets. He just actually meant like a curse instead, like not secrets, but like a curse secret.
It was secret in the fact that it was secret from you, but we all knew.
But we all knew. Now that he's dead and I'm reading this will out loud, he's saying here that I can tell you it's actually a curse, not a secret.
Yeah, and like, yeah, just again, a secret he kept from you.
Yeah.
Everyone else was in on it.
Yeah.
And it's a curse.
It's a curse. So Michael is
you're welcome.
Like, yeah, so packs up a suitcase. So enjoy, bye.
Refurls the parchment.
Like makes that sound, like whipping together. But no, Mr. Lynch, he does not leave. He actually kind of stays put for a bit. Because Michael then asks him to explain this so-called curse.
Good question.
What does this mean? Yes, I would like to know more before I sell and or keep this house.
Yeah.
So Mr. Lynch explains to him that legend has it, and we're going to hear about how fun Uncle Fenmore Conway was.
Okay.
Legend has it that a long time ago, old Conway's partner came to the house with proof that Fenmore had swindled him out of a fortune. But when this old partner left the house to go to the police, he mysteriously vanished somewhere deep in the forest and in the marshes.
Okay.
And the maid cuts in and she says, yeah, I know. I've seen him out there in those marshes before, but something happened to him. This man changed. He somehow became part of the swamp itself, and he's now known by locals as the Marsh Monster. Clever name, right? Mudsie, of course, at this point feels vindicated because he's like, see, I told you I saw someone out there. I told you. He's like still hiding as he says it.
Okay, that's
my
question.
Yes, yeah, he's like not in the maid's face. But yeah, he's like, I told you, I was right. You didn't believe me. Part 3. After the reading of the will, Michael Conway, he's just like, fuck it, you guys, it's raining outside. It's dark. It's late. Your car is still in that river, I think. So just spend the night.
Part 3, sleepover. A cursed sleepover.
Scary sleepover. Spooky sleepover. Spooky sleepover. Yes. We're retconning these titles. I love it. So yeah, they spend the night in this massive mansion, and I guess it's his house now. So he's like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. You guys stay here. And the maid is like putting together a room for all of them, giving them their blankets and everything. And they're kind of all on edge after hearing stories about the marsh monster. And so she's trying to calm them down, saying, don't worry, the monster's never actually made its way into Conway Mansion. We've only ever seen it out in the marshes.
Don't worry, kids.
You guys are safe here tonight. But as we know, watching these shows, anytime one of these like authority figures tells you not to worry about something,
be worried.
Be worried. Be very, very worried. So eventually, though, the maid, she leaves the room, and the gang, they just continue to discuss how like something about this place just doesn't seem right. Like the vibes are very off. And so they eventually go to sleep. And downstairs, we see that Mr. Lynch is still down there talking shop with Michael Conway. like trying to convince Conway to sell the property to an unnamed client of his. We'll do some wild speculation on that later.
Perfect.
Because they don't go into it, of course, in this episode. They
But
just say, we will. Exactly. We will make up something about it. But yeah, so Mr. Lynch apparently has this secret anonymous client. And he's like, come on, just like sell me the property. Like, just take, you don't need this. Take it off your hands. But Michael, he's adamant, he declines, and he tells Mr. Lynch that, like, look, I know you said what you said about that curse and everything. I ignored it because in my family, we have a rumor claiming that it's actually a fortune of gold that's hidden somewhere on the property. So, like, I think that that's the secret that my uncle was talking about, not this curse thing that you're talking about.
Interesting.
And Mr. Lynch, though, again, who we're going to assume is like the lawyer who wrote this thing.
Yeah.
A reasonable lawyer would be like, look, if there was gold here, he would want it in the will so that someone would like take it and it wouldn't just go to waste.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he have told me if there's gold? You know, like just get rid, you know, like I would know. So at this point, Mr. Lynch is like, dude, Michael, I assure you, there is no gold fortune. Like, I don't know what your family be telling you, but they're lying.
But I was your your rich ass uncle's lawyer for decades.
He paid me to write down what he owns. He didn't mention no gold. All he mentioned was a horrible, dangerous curse. Okay. I'm telling
he told you the important things.
Exactly. So back upstairs, the gang, like I said, they were eventually able to fall asleep and get some rest. But Mudsie and Boo, for whatever reason, they're a bit restless, which I mean probably is because they've been sleeping for the past like 200 years. So actually, I get it. Exactly. I get it.
The phrase "you can sleep when you're dead," they're like, no, you can't actually.
No, you can't. And we'll never sleep again. So Mudsie, he makes a trip down to the mansion's library. Of course, it has one. And he decides to read some books to try to like tire himself out and get himself to fall asleep, which, okay, can relate, Mudsie. Wake up in the middle of the night, like, all right, where's my book? God damn it, reading. Where's something to read? But as he's perusing through the shelves, kind of like looking at what books are there, he then hears a very like loud moaning and kind of like loud, ominous sound in the distance that scares him. And then after that, he hears another weird sound that he then describes as wet footsteps or damp even, as he says. Okay. But as he turns to then, of course, break the fourth wall and like be all dramatic as he usually is, he misses a secret doorway opening up behind him. And we see the terrifying marsh monster slowly walking through the secret doorway and making its way deeper into the house. And then only moments later, we then hear the maid screaming from down the hallway, asking for help. Yeah, right, checks out. Because she says the marsh monster has apparently just kidnapped Michael Conway.
Oh.
So Skip, he comes downstairs, like the maid screaming wakes everybody up, right? And so Skip and Augie and April, Elmo, all of them, they run downstairs and they're telling the maid, like, don't worry, we'll protect you. And she's like, fuck yeah, like, I don't need your protection. I'm leaving. Like,
she's like, you also
protect yourselves.
Y'all lost your car in a swamp. Like, what do I think you can do for me?
Right. And like, who are you? We still don't even know who you kids are. You just showed up here. You're random will witnesses. Like we don't know
your help.
No, like who? What? Yeah.
Goodbye.
And again, you can't even drive a car, and you don't have a car, so it's in the river.
How are you gonna help me?
Yeah. So no, she says, yeah, that's cute of you, but I'm out of here.
Goodbye.
And you should be too. But the gang, they decide to stay, of course. And they're like, well, we're not going to leave until we at least find Mr. Conway and make sure that he's safe before we fucking hightail it out of here and get away from this marsh monster. So part 4, which I'm going to also ask you to name after I get a few lines.
Okay, perfect.
If you think of anything, let me know.
Okay.
So, yes. after initially splitting up, so at first the gang's like, all right, Augie, April, and Elmo, we're gonna go this way. Skip, Boo, Mudsie, you guys go that way, whatever. They do this for a while. They search around a bunch of rooms. I didn't really write it down because it really is pointless. At the end, like after
nothing.
yeah, like they find nothing. And after 5 minutes of them just like getting trapped behind these weird trapdoors and stuff, they all end up falling down chambers and wind up trapped in a deep, dark, like basement cellar together again. So 5 minutes of plot just like wasted in this episode, in my opinion.
Part 4, reunited, and it feels so good.
Boom, done. That's it. So yes, once they have reunited down in this cellar, they're down there and they're like half searching for clues, half searching for a way out. Yeah. And they come across an automatic water pump of all things.
Okay.
And Skip theorizes that it's probably just, they use it to drain out the swamp water that likely seeps down into the basement and into the house. Like, okay, yeah, sure. What's this thing for, though? I'm sitting here wondering, like, how are they going to use, what does this have to do with the episode? Because they really are focusing in on
their escape. Yeah.
Yes. So meanwhile, as they're like looking at this water pump, Elmo and Boo are just running around the basement and they're playing with each other. Like Boo mostly is being a little shit and messing with Elmo.
Torturing Elmo.
Literally torturing him, yes. And at one point, Elmo runs directly into a wall, again, because he was lured there by Boo. I know, it's pretty sad. But Elmo, dude's got a little thick skull because he busts a massive hole into this brick wall.
He's a thick bulldog. He's a thick boy.
He is. Sometimes I wonder if he is even a bulldog. He looks kind of interesting. He reminds me a little bit of like Choo Choo, where he kind of looks like a few different animals. Choo Choo from The Amazing Chain.
Yes. Just like, here's a bunch of tough. He also like looks like I feel like there was like a Looney Tunes bulldog that like had that shape to it of like super high shoulders, bulky head, and then like very skinny end.
Yeah. Something like, or it's like
just like the tough dog look.
The tough dog look, yeah,
tough
like
dog,
either from Looney
look.
Tunes or Tom and Jerry, or also like Tasmanian Devil, but like on
but
four legs.
He looks like a Tasmanian Devil, but a dog.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, so yes, whatever this animal is, Elmo, the dog, the dog hybrid thing, he runs into this wall, creating a hole and revealing an opening that the gang can now use to escape the basement. And I will say, at this point, upon discovering this hole, or like Elmo making this hole, the boys, Augie and Skip, have like a pretty ridiculous back and forth here. Oh, no. Like ridiculous in a savage way. Like poor April just caught in the middle of this. Like
she never asked for it.
Never did. And also though, like all three of their identities, in my opinion, like the main identity of those three characters is just that they're like kind of in a love triangle, but not actually. That the two guys like April, and that April is just friends with both of them. Like that's literally their entire identities. Every single like bit of dialogue that happens between the three of them always comes back to that point. Because here, like without Boo and Mudsie, this show would be horrible because it would just be them fighting over April the whole time. Because here, the boys are like, wow, look at that hole. That's awesome. Like Augie says he's so proud of Elmo and knew that he would find a way out. And Skip's like, yeah, but your fat head can never squeeze through there.
Damn.
Yeah.
At a time like this? You're going to do this right now, Skip?
Right now. Like, really? Really? You want to throw the gauntlet down here?
Now?
This is where you want to do it? This is where you want to do it. Okay. Huh. Interesting, because at this point, like April even is like, wow, okay, that was a little too far. He's like, guys, stop it. Like, we got to save Mike Conway.
We're trying to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So which later Skip is like, okay, I've got it. I've got to, or no, he just says, hey, I've got it. And Augie says, what? Measles? Which, okay, they're even now. They're even, yeah, boys. So really, like, April is not impressed by either of these. Okay.
And she's like, you guys are literally just my ride. You have a dune buggy.
And also, I should have mentioned too that April, she's not obviously into Michael Conway, but like it's anytime
He's
his
got a whole
name comes
house.
up, she's the one saying it. Like she says his name so many times
Only in
during
her
this
mouth.
episode. Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, I'm into a more mature, wealthy man,
He's got a
not a high
suit
school
on.
student.
Yeah, that's literally the vibe, actually. Because, well, yes, you'll see it when you watch it, but like there are a lot of moments where like those two make eye contact or he says something and like looks at her or whatever. Yeah, so these Skip and Augie are like out of their league here in many ways. So anyway, Skip at this point, he tells Mudsie to turn on the automatic water pump. And then Skip grabs the hose for the pump and he like points it at the hole in the wall and immediately blasts an even bigger hole around it, which allows them
Oh,
to escape and
wow.
also makes me severely question the structural integrity of this house.
Yeah, a
If,
hose.
if a hose and a dog can
Also, you
like
guys are in
tear
the
down an
basement.
entire wall, and this
It's
exactly
about to collapse
in
on you.
in like a marshy area. So there's already a lot like this house
Thinking.
is not, yeah, Michael Conway
No.
actually does need to sell this shit
Yeah, this is
because
gonna be a
it's
money pit.
dangerous. Yes. So once they all leave the cellar, Skip tells everyone to keep their eyes open for clues. To which Augie responds, he's not done with them yet. He says, "Ha, you wouldn't know a clue if it hit you on the head." And at that exact moment, a weird looking key falls on Skip's head.
Oh, just from the ceiling?
No, so we actually do see like a creepy hand sneaking out of something, like a
Oh,
little window or something, and it drops it right on Skip.
uh,
Something, I don't know. Like they don't see the hand, but we do.
the the owner of the hand was originally just gonna drop it like into the hall, but then they heard the insult and they were like, "This is gonna be good. Let me aim for
Got
Skip."
him. Yeah. He's like, you know what, Skip? I kind of want you to get April. I'll put a clue on your head. I know you're not that
Yeah.
stupid. Yeah. So at that exact moment, though, when they see this key, they're like, well, what is this key for? And Mudsie says, well, I know. It's a key for a crypt at a graveyard. Which, okay,
What?
what? I don't know, but he says it very excitedly. He's like, oh my God, I can contribute to the conversation.
It's dead things.
I
I
know
know
all about
those.
death. Yes, it's a crypt, and a crypt must be at a graveyard. So the gang, for whatever reason, seeing as this
Wow.
apparently this key to a crypt at a graveyard landed literally on their heads, they decide to go to a graveyard and open up someone's crypt, which I guess
Wow,
they
so
presume
grave robbing.
grave robbing.
Classic
They've,
Scooby-Doo move.
they've quickly crossed over into that sort of territory. I mean, I think actually
Hanna-Barbera.
this will be their first crime of the episode. See, that is a good point. I didn't think about that, and I got to go back and track it with your episode last week. But they don't commit as much crime as the other teenage vigilante groups
No,
we've
they like
covered.
politely knock on this
Yeah,
mansion door.
yeah. Well, they
And
did not like they waited for the owner to actually welcome them in, and even when they
yes,
went there, like they were just going to ask for directions. They weren't like, hey,
yeah,
let's go in that house and like find safety. They were saying, hey, let's go to that house and just ask for
and
help.
ask permission.
Yeah, like they were never gonna just do the typical B&E as,
Yeah,
Mystery Inc. and the
but
Chans and
grave robbing,
grave robbing the
that
other
is the line they will cross.
without
An
hesitation.
easy line.
They were
They're
gonna
like,
do it
look,
before they even knew that they had a key to a crypt.
they're like, look, we already have a dead guy with us. He said it was
Yeah,
cool if we did it. So it's cool, right?
okay, it's cool. Yeah, he said he wouldn't have been offended if someone robbed his grave.
My one
So we
dead
have
friend
to
said it
assume
was
no one
fine.
else would. Yeah. So, yes, part 5, the last
Ooh.
part, we have arrived at the graveyard.
Mm,
The gang, they find a crypt and they whip out the key to open it up.
great.
And of course, the door, in again, classic fashion, it just actually opens up for them. They don't even like before they can even
They
put
don't
the
need the
key
key.
totally in. So after all this time, they didn't need the key actually. And
Yeah.
at this point, well, I will say before I go on to this little tangent, because I got a little angry at this part of the episode, I will say At
Okay.
this point, though, Augie is like, it's almost like someone was expecting us. They just opened the door for us. And Skip says, yeah, and I think whoever it is has us right where they want us. And so at this point, I'm like, yeah, wait, they're right. I think someone probably was expecting them, and this is all a
Yeah.
trap, apparently.
Yeah.
So why did they drop the key on Skip's head? How
Yeah.
did they how did they know that the gang would know that it was a key to a crypt? Because they don't know that Mudsie and Boo are there. So they just
Yeah.
drop a random key
In a
on their head and
mansion,
say, maybe exactly, like they could think it was a key to a safe somewhere. And
or
what
like
if it
every door in the mansion.
and now I'm realizing, what if it actually wasn't a key to that crypt? Because also Mudsie is wrong about a lot of stuff. Like everything he says is wrong all the time.
Yeah.
So what if it was that? And like whoever the villain is just like, oh God, these stupid fucking kids, like runs to the fucking graveyard.
Running to the crypt.
Did they just say they're going to go to the crypt? That key is clearly for the lot for the
Like,
safe in the
attic.
cellar that they were just in.
Yeah.
It like says it on there. Like,
There's like a little tag on it. Cellar
yeah.
key. And they're like,
Yeah.
starts with a C, starts with a C,
See.
crypt.
It's for a crypt. Oh my God.
They hear like on the floor above them, like someone running.
Yeah, running and like
They hear a door slam
coming
in the
down the
mansion.
stairs. Yeah. And like when they get to the graveyard, they hear like someone running through the grass or something.
Someone's
Like,
so out of breath. As the door opens.
Which is actually hilarious because as they then walk through this crypt, they like hear the noises of someone and they're like moaning and groaning.
Because they just sprint. They're just tired.
Oh my God. Like like fanning themselves.
They're like, ooh, what's that cool breeze? And yeah, it's just the person fanning themselves.
There
Ooh,
must be a ghost in
spooky.
here. I feel cold here. Yes.
You know what? This villain, if nothing, is working for it.
They are.
They're putting in the work.
What they're working for, we don't quite know yet. This
No.
episode's been pretty vague. But they're working for it. They are working for it.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, they're walking through this crypt, essentially down this like coffin-lined hallway. Which, by the way, again, I got mad because I was like, well, this isn't a crypt, by the way, then. Like, you see it from the outside. Like, this is like a mausoleum or a morgue. Like, this is not a crypt.
Yeah, Mudsie.
I'm no crypt expert, but yeah, exactly. Mudsie. Again,
like you said, getting it wrong.
And so as they're walking through all of these coffins that are just literally lined up everywhere, like they're lined up on the walls, they're just lined up through the hallways.
Great.
They hear again these groaning sounds echoing off of the walls. And they start to ask if like someone is in there with them. Like, oh my God, maybe we aren't alone. There might be someone in here.
Well, the door did just open. So probably.
It did just open, and on its own, right after they say this, it slams shut, and we hear it unlock itself from the outside.
Not great.
AKA the viewers, we see the marsh monster actually outside of the tomb or the crypt, whatever you want to call it, locking them in. But inside, they're like, oh no, it must be a ghost or something. Like, we don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And so Skip, he then notices right after this door closes, he notices one of the coffins slowly creaking open.
Oh yeah,
and when the gang, I was never in this.
I said the crypt.
Like,
Mudsie, you're going down. You're already dead.
You're doing that on your own, buddy. Let us know what you find in there. And the gang turns around and they look closer at this coffin that is slowly opening, and they all gasp and say, oh my goodness, it couldn't be. No way. And they see that it's Mike Conway just waking up from what is likely a very severe head wound that he absolutely needs to get checked out, by the way, because he's like he's so foggy. They're asking like, Mike, is that you? And he's like, I hope so. I don't know. And he's like, just before everything went black, I must have seen the marsh monster attack me. And I was like, did you say everything went black?
Sir, you have a concussion that you just slept on? Oh no.
Bro, you need to
Mm-mm.
go see a doctor
Go get CAT scan
immediately.
stat.
Yes. And at that exact moment, thankfully, Augie, who I guess is just kind of like, he's like, hey, a concussion. I got like 20 of them from playing football.
Weak, bro.
This is your first concussion? Please, I black out
I can
every other
tell.
weekend. Yeah. So Augie, he's like uninterested in what Conway is saying, and he's just like moseying around, rifling through this mausoleum, and he sees a casket that's standing up against the wall, decides to open it for whatever reason,
It's on
and
his
sees
concussions. He thinks it's the
one.
door.
It is because he notices that it leads to a staircase. Yeah,
Oh,
concussions may actually be good for us.
you know what? Wait a second.
Yeah.
All right, points to Augie.
They're onto something here. Augie may be a little bit smarter than we thought. So they see that there's a staircase going down through this casket. They all take it to run out of there, find some safety.
Do they have Conway with them?
Yeah.
Or dragging him with them?
He's on 2 feet. He's walking and everything now.
Okay,
He's even telling them, like, be careful going down those stairs, guys. It's dangerous. To which I say, sir, can you even stand up right now?
Yeah. Sir, did you get hit in the head and then fall? That's how they got your body here, is they pushed you down some stairs.
Yeah, because he was like still awake talking to Mr. Lynch and everything. So like he was probably, like going downstairs to get a glass of water, something like that. And then some villain just boom, knocks him right down the stairs.
Wow, yikes. Okay.
Yeah, terrifying. You hate to see it.
Yep.
Because you're gonna forget about it all when you black out. So hilariously, though, as the gang is like walking down this secret staircase, we then see another nearby casket or coffin, whatever, open up. And the butler, Henry, his head just pops out and he just starts laughing menacingly as the gang makes their way out of the mausoleum. So at this point, I'm like, oh, that's pretty suspicious, Henry. Okay.
Okay.
So the gang somehow winds back up in Conway Mansion. I guess maybe the secret passageway has some underground tunnel system that takes you back there. I don't know, because they find themselves coming out. I think actually it's of the same secret passageway in the library that we saw the marsh monster come out of earlier in the episode. Okay, yes. And when they get in here, they look down and they see marsh monster foot tracks or footprints everywhere, which obviously is very unsettling and is a sign that he's somewhere in the house, most likely.
Yes.
And so soon after that, over some PA system, I guess, that's in the mansion.
Hanna-Barbera loves a PA system.
They love some evening announcements or some random announcements, because we then hear, I guess it's the monster. Maybe it's a ghost. It's probably a ghost, because there's no indication up to this point in the episode that the monster speaks or knows English, because all we ever hear it doing is grunting. So I'm guessing it's some ghost of some sort who's over this PA system saying, "This is your last warning. Leave Conway Mansion at once or be doomed forever." And Mike, after, I guess he probably did black out and forgot about like the secret treasure that he thinks is hidden there, because at this point, in like a millisecond, he's like, no, like, I'll go. I'm out of here. Like, sure. Like, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out, dude. And the announcer, I literally typed the announcer. Like, this is like a sports program. He's over the PA.
We cut to Guy in the street with his like headset on.
All right, and we're getting word that Mike Conway will be leaving the house. So what we're gonna cut over to the Marsh Monster now and hear his thoughts on these recent developments.
So, Marsh Monster, that was a great fight you had out there. Any thoughts? This just in, you heard it here first, everyone. Back to you, John.
Back to you. The kids are just like shaking in the mansion, like scared. All right. Well, that's it from Conway Mansion.
Also, this is your last warning. Where was the first warning? This is our first warning we've had.
I guess this dude has clearly been spying on the house, because he knows, like, Mr. Lynch warned you there was a curse. The maid said that there was some sort of curse. Like, I guess it can be implied that if someone tells you something is cursed, they're also probably low-key telling you to get the fuck out of that place.
Or
So
we just didn't see Conway get told this
yeah,
before
maybe he was
got
told
hit
that right before the marsh
before he got
monster.
assaulted.
Like, yeah. The marsh monster's like, if you don't leave, I'm gonna have to hit you in the head with this. He's like, well, I'm not leaving. Bonk.
All right, John, play that back in slow motion. We see he holds the bat in his signature move before assaulting this Heir. Yes, Kathy. It's called the Marsh Monster Swing.
The marsh monster.
You know, we first saw it way back in '69. Really paves the way for marsh monsters everywhere.
Actually, we're getting word the marsh monster is available for comment. Can we cut to the marsh monster? It's the marsh monster at like one of those press tables or whatever. It's
There's
like,
a bunch of cameras going
what
on.
inspired you to use that movement in the bat swing when you knocked out Mike Conway?
Journalists scribbling down.
Yeah, good cameras like snapping pictures.
There's a coach like just off the side, arms crossed, nodding.
Good. Oh God. So, yeah. The announcer is like, after Mike says he'll leave, the announcer is like, you must never return. And Mike, he's committed at this point. He's like, I won't, I promise. Like, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So he then looks over to the gang and he's like, come on, guys, like, let's get out of here.
Great.
And April firmly responds, no, Mike, we're staying. Which I'm like, this one, I'm like, wait, why? Your objective was to save Mike Conway and make sure he's safe. And you did. Yeah. And Mike hears this and he's like, you're staying? So she says, we're staying. And Mike's like, he doesn't say this, but essentially I'm paraphrasing. He's like, no, you're staying. I am not staying. I'm gonna like you guys can stay and handle this on your own. Then, like Goodbye. He says, like you're not getting my help. Bye. He's out.
I'm getting in my car. We could have taken the entire time to find help for you and leaving.
Oh, that rainstorm that ended hours ago. It's been super dry, but right as Mike leaves the house, or at least the room. The marsh monster then literally in Kool-Aid Man style busts through a wall. I mean, he just like busts right into this room and starts chasing the gang.
Bad.
Very bad. Like Mike Conway, come on, this is a sign, dude. This is bad multiple signs now. And so they're chasing, or the monster is chasing the gang all throughout the mansion. And eventually the gang, like backed into a corner, they decide to launch a piano that's like on wheels. They like launch this thing down a hallway at the marsh monster, slamming into him, like sending him even further down the hallway and slamming all of this, the marsh monster and the piano, into the wall that also has like a fireplace in it. So into a brick fireplace and a wall.
Oh my God. Surprised the wall didn't fall down based on what we've seen thus far.
It did. Not the whole wall, the fireplace. Literally my very next line. The fireplace falls apart like a bunch of Legos.
Okay, well, at least they're consistent with it.
Yeah.
Great. I feel okay about that.
I guess I'm glad that the fireplace fell down and not the wall, the whole wall. Or did the whole wall fall? Actually, I think not the whole wall, but yeah, there's probably a hole in the wall too. If the fire is not great. It's definitely not great.
He's going to have to put fixer-upper on this real estate ad.
He's going to like put a sign fixer-upper on the door and then the door will like fall down.
Someone's going to touch it, it just disintegrates.
Windows falling out, shutters falling down. Normal. It's normal. So, yes, the fireplace falls apart like Legos. And amazingly, though, once all of these bricks are laying out on the ground, the fallen bricks begin to glow a solid, vibrant gold, revealing the Conway fortune.
The same fucking plot as Scooby-Doo.
literally, I gotta figure out, man, what year was that episode? Or no, that's right. That was one of the newer ones. That was from the What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. But still, a classic
They took from
Hanna-Barbera
this.
move. Exactly. So this time Scooby-Doo copied off of them.
Uh-huh.
Yes, but it's all the same shit
This has definitely
anyways.
happened multiple times. Is like the
Yeah, it
wall
probably
is the treasure.
the
They have
bricks
one
are
of my
actually
episodes
gold.
too.
I think it. I think
Yeah,
you're right. I think you're right. This is not the first,
multiple.
or this is
A
not even the
classic
second
trope.
time we've seen
Yeah,
this.
honestly, and I love it.
Same. Like I'm considering doing this. The person that reads my will, like, most of my fortune is going to go towards them reading it. The other is going to be painting bricks to look, or painting gold bars to look like bricks, like
I
hiding
know
them in my house.
we've talked about how you haven't watched Arrested Development many times on this show, but
Yeah.
there's a whole ongoing thing that they have like a frozen banana stand on like a pier. And at one point, they're like, there's always money in the banana stand. And the son thinks it means like, oh, if we burn it down, like we can get insurance money for it. And so he does it and then goes
Oh
back to the
no.
family. And they're like, no, we lined the walls of the banana stand with like millions of dollars. And it's just in flames everywhere. Not insurance fraud.
Oh
Anyways,
my God. Like, no, we meant
it says
literally
there's
there's
always money
cash
in
there.
the banana
Yeah.
stand.
Also, like, I feel like an insurance payout from a stand catching on fire wouldn't be that massive.
Not gonna be good. Not gonna be that
I
good.
feel like they probably were pissed with what they got from that.
Yeah, it's not great.
So, anyways, so yes, classic Hanna-Barbera plot here. We see that this massive fireplace was actually the Conway fortune the whole time. And so at this point, the gang's like, wow, oh my God, you were like, Mike Conway was right. Like there was a secret. Maybe I guess there was a secret and a curse because like there's still a
Double
monster
secret.
here. Yeah, double secret. Twice the secrets, twice the fun, right? So,
The uncle again. He's like a fun guy.
he's a fun guy. He just loves messing with people.
Loves this.
Oh, the other episode had happened. Sorry, it was your holiday episode with the toy factory.
Yes, yes.
Remember?
And
Yeah,
they
that
washed
was
the
the other
wall.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Again,
again,
a power washer again,
they do
exposing
it all.
things. Oh, yeah. So it just
A
just hit me. I
snowman,
was
a
like,
power washer, a
it's all the
swamp
common
monster, and a
tropes.
piano. Keep these things on hand, folks.
They're all the same. Yeah, coming soon to a cartoon near you.
Exactly.
So the gang having the marsh monster now trapped under this pile of bricks slash gold and like a piano
Grand
and the
piano.
wall, all of these things. He's not going anywhere. So Skip is like, all right, let's take this mask off. Let's go. But as like they're reaching for the mask, they're also like slightly interrupted by Elmo and Boo, who are like running around being little shits. Like Elmo's barking at a door because Boo is like hiding behind it or something like that. And they're like, guys, stop playing. We're trying to unmask this criminal over
Yeah, our big moment's happening.
And so they reach to take off the mask. And Grace, would you like to guess who this marsh monster is? And would you like me to run back through our list of suspects?
Yes, do that first.
All right. So we've got Mr. Lynch, the attorney slash estate executor dude who's got an anonymous client who wants to buy this property and swears that there is no secret, only a curse. Okay. We've got the butler, Henry, who clearly hates Fenimore Conway for leaving him only 50 cents and at least once in the past tried to steal the fortune once before.
And loves sleeping in coffins.
And exactly.
Importantly.
Most importantly. And then we've got the maid, Sweet Martha, loved by Mike Conway, also only received 50 cents, and apparently maybe also is included in the help that tried to steal the fortune from Fenimore Conway, but also has sworn to see this marsh monster somewhere deep in the marshes and believes in the curse of the old partner who was robbed by Fenimore Conway. And then we've got actually the ghost of Fenimore Conway's old partner, the guy who was robbed and had a grudge. Yeah. Did he actually leave, escape, and get, lost in the swamps and turn into this marsh monster? Like maybe they're going to try to pull this mask off and there is no mask.
And it's the real face. Yeah. Or Fenimore Conway himself. Did he make no
I was just gonna say, or do we have the
For
ghost
fun.
of Fenmore Conway and or Fenmore Conway himself? He's a fun guy, as
He's a fun
we've
guy.
discovered. Maybe he's just been fucking with him the whole time. And last but not least, we do
Mm,
have Mike Conway, the nephew,
mm,
who has inherited this old mansion and believes the
mhm,
secret and not the curse. Who do we
mhm.
think it is? Quite a list of characters.
So I think that it was the lawyer, Mr. Lynch, and
Okay.
that he, in reality, was the old business partner. And
Mm-hmm.
Michael Conway was just too young to actually remember any of that stuff. But I also have some wild speculation about this business partner situation and to the fortune, which then would erase my guess. But I'm just going to say it was the lawyer.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I like your guess. I do like your guess. I'm going to talk more about your guess in just a second and how much I
Okay.
like it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the monster is revealed to be Mike
Someone we don't know.
Conway.
Oh, I thought he was in the room with them.
Now he left, remember? He left.
Oh,
But
yes.
wait,
I forgot.
before you get too deep into it being Mike Conway, because the
There's
gang is
another
in
man.
disbelief. And I'm also in disbelief because to me, I'm like, well, wait, Mike Conway didn't. I mean, what does he gain out of being the marsh monster, right? Like he's got
Yeah.
the property. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't. Why does he need to steal? What's going on here? This is poorly explained. And the
Yeah.
gang, they're in disbelief and they're further confused when they hear a voice behind them saying, "That's right. And the Mike Conway in that Halloween costume is a fake." And they turn around and they see
It's a fake
Mike
Conway.
Conway with like ropes around him, like ropes draped that have just been untied that he's like throwing off of his shoulders.
He's also a fun guy. What an
Yeah,
entrance.
this whole family. I love this family.
Conways are fun. Also, what?
Also, very much so. What?
They take another mask off?
And they and so Mike Conway, he's like pointing at this phony, and he comes out of the door that Elmo was barking at before,
Oh, good boy.
showing that he was actually being held captive back there. And so Mike, the real Mike, explains that Sweet Martha, the maid, and Henry, the butler, were behind the entire plot, the entire
They love
conspiracy.
trying to steal fortunes.
They do, apparently. This is not their first attempt.
Nope.
And the gang then takes over for Mike at this point. They're like, oh, okay, we got it. We see what happened. So April's
They
like,
have no
Martin,
clue.
I don't know.
Never find clues.
We'll talk more about that in a second. I hope I remember. There's like 3 notes of wild speculation that I'm like, we're gonna get to that in a second. We're gonna get to that. It's all building up. Just wait. We're gonna have a great conversation here in a minute. So April's like, Martha must have made up the monster legend and the curse story. And Skip says that it must have been her idea or the idea to get Mike's crooked look-alike to sign the mansion over to them must have also been her idea. So they're just like putting everything together for us because I was like, none of this was explained in the episode.
Wait,
But
his
yes,
look-alike? This isn't a mask?
it's not a mask. It's his look-alike.
He's got a
It's a
stunt
dude.
double?
It's a dude. It's his son. It's a guy who looks like him. So I'm even more confused, Grace. I'm like, how? Okay. All
This is
right.
how rich
Put a
this
pin in that.
family they get stunt
They can
doubles.
clone people.
What? Okay,
So
go on.
Mike at this point, Mike's like, yep, you got it. Like, that's exactly what happened. Martha made up the monster legend and the curse story, and the idea was to get my crooked lookalike to sign the mansion over to her. And now, thanks to you guys, the Conway family fortune has been found and it's safe. And so this is the last line, and then we're just going to explode into like complaining and wild speculation about this.
I'm
Okay.
so flabbergasted.
Mike says he's glad that the mystery is all cleared up. This is like the next morning or later that night. We see the police arrive. Sweet Martha and Henry the butler are in the back of the police car. They've been arrested. They're going to jail.
The
But
lookalike
Mike,
is gone
the look, he's nowhere. He
back
is
to
not
the
in the
swamp.
car. Yeah, he puts the mask back on. I think, well, we'll speculate about him in a second too. Maybe he's just gone. But
Okay.
Mike says there is one thing left that he can't quite explain because he could have sworn that when he was locked up in that closet, someone untied his ropes. But he doesn't believe in ghosts, so he just doesn't really know how to explain it, and just like kind of shakes it off. But it was Boo, hilariously. Boo's like, no big deal. I
I
saved
just
the day.
slashed all the ropes.
Right. But regardless, Mike's like, I can't shake the feeling that the house might still be haunted somehow, because you also see like Mudsie like behind him, kind of just like doing weird shit or whatever. So which April responds, well, if there is a ghost, I bet you it's a groovy ghost. And that's the last line of the episode, which in my opinion also like wasted opportunity. She could have just said like, I bet it's a funky phantom, and then like boom, credits roll. How fun would that have been? Wasted opportunity.
I feel like they didn't have the title for the show yet.
They didn't. I'm so glad you said that, because in my mind when I heard that, I was like, I wonder if the show was originally supposed to be called Groovy Ghost.
Probably. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
they
think
changed
so.
it. They were probably so pissed. And that's the end of the episode.
Wow.
So a few things.
Wow. Let's hear it.
Uh,
Let's hear your
First of
speculation
all,
about this.
I agree 100% with your guess, in my opinion. And I built him up to seem more shady than he actually is in this episode, because why trust a lawyer? Never trust a lawyer.
Truly.
They're evil. But yeah, like I thought it was going to be Mr. Lynch too. And in my mind, I was thinking that his anonymous client was like a descendant of the old partner, or was the old partner.
Oh, yeah.
Or alternatively, I like your theory that he himself was the old partner somehow, who like, Mike Conway doesn't remember him, etc. So he's like, I don't know you, etc. Whatever. Because I thought that would have been way juicier. That would have made more sense.
Yeah.
And
No,
I feel like it's kind of a
look-alike.
cop out. Yeah, it's a cop out to just say it's Mike Conway's lookalike and never reveal who this dude actually is, or how he knows the maid and the butler, or explaining any more of how the maid and the butler put this plan together. All we see is the butler popping his head out of a coffin and laughing.
What's that part about?
Which also then, when I had to do a lot of reflecting on this episode, I just sat back and thought like, so a lot of this was unnecessary, because if the butler was behind it and he's in this mausoleum, like laughing, like, but they also were the ones that gave them the keys to the crypt. They wanted them to go to the crypt, but that's where they found Mike. So I was thinking, okay, maybe that was the fake Mike. Maybe they told the fake Mike to get in there and act like he was, knocked out.
Real Mike
wanted the kids to find him there. Yeah, exactly. They wanted to find him in there, bring him back to the mansion. But that just seems so difficult. Like, why go through all of that? Why not just not if the real Mike is locked up in the closet, then just like parade out the fake Mike. The kids don't know that they were asleep when the monster.
This is why the other attempts to steal the fortune fail. If this was the caliber of
as did this one.
That's why the uncle was so sassy in the will, being like, for all your foiled, fucked up attempts, you get 50 cents.
Like, and also, I mean, unless they kill the real Mike Conway, this wouldn't work. So, I mean, I guess they must have wanted to kill the right Mike Conway, the real Mike Conway, because it's just like my last episode with not the Piranha Plot. God, I wish. What a great episode. The claim jabber, right? With that will. Just holding on to a will, or like, a deed doesn't mean that it's not a bearer bond. You don't just hold it and say, okay, I own this house now because I'm holding the deed. So if like the real Mike Conway doesn't give title to you, then you don't have title. Like he'll just sue you. He's got money. He's
the fake one coming in to the lawyer's office, the lawyer, who knows the real Mike Conway and is going to ask for like identity verification. Yeah. Does the fake one also have his social security number?
Yeah, exactly. Like all of that information. I mean, Yeah, again, like you said, it's no surprise that Finmore Conway, the decedent, knew that the help was trying to like
Duh.
steal his fortune because these are the fucking plots that they're coming up with to
Yeah,
do it. It's like so obscure and stupid and over
and
the top. And
convoluted.
yeah,
Yeah.
like even these stupid teenagers could like thwart it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Wow. That was incredible. They are going to do poorly in jail, I think. They're going to try and break out, I have a feeling, and it's going
They
to be
will,
bad.
and it will be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently only two of them are in there too. So the third one, this
Yeah, that was,
Mike's lookalike, who actually I think maybe they might have just killed. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. I'm concerned because yeah, he was not in the sheriff's car,
yeah, no,
and
he slipped right
they
back
were
into
like
that swamp.
circling. They were circled around him, looking at him with like this pile of bricks on top of him and a piano. Like, well, what do we do with this dude?
Yeah, he either is buried in the swamp or is returning to the swamp from which he came.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two.
Yes.
Wow, that
So
was
that's yeah. Can I say I have
wild.
one more little thing that
Yes.
I did here because you when you were reading through your script last week, they were all so funny. All of the Mudsy quotes, like just the funny random things that he says throughout the episode because we love how sassy he is.
Yes.
So I knew that we would end up going on tangents if I like had them in the main part of my script. So what I did
You know us
instead,
well.
I put all of his funniest quotes like in a separate section
A
of my
completion.
script. So it's like a list
Yes, let me
of the
hear
best
them in
parts.
the
And
full
I was
Muzzy
like,
voice.
we can do one of two things here. I can either just read them to you and we can chat about them because they're very funny, or I can read them and you try to guess like what he said them in response to, or like at what point in the plot he said them.
Let's do that, and then you can correct me because they're all so they have to do with nothing that's happening in the moment.
Uh,
Okay,
no,
let's
these
hear
are
it.
actually there are ones where like some of them you might be able to guess, and some of them like
Okay,
what the fuck?
you're like,
Yeah,
what's
okay.
wrong?
So the
Okay,
first one, and I will say they're pretty much in chronological order of the episode. So it's like
great.
the first one is from early on in the episode, right?
Okay.
All right. He says, "Who's afraid? Who's afraid? Whom do you think discovered electricity? It was I when I told John Hancock to go fly a kite."
Sir, you can't even get what at the time was your own pop culture correct. It's not even history for him. That's just pop culture in the
It's
moment.
pop culture, yeah. Current events.
All right, that's when he was going off into the woods.
Just before, yeah. It was like when
Yeah,
lightning was striking as they were in the dune buggy, right before they
yeah.
crashed into the river. Yes. And
Okay, okay.
hilariously, April in response says, there was, he's like, that was Ben Franklin who flew the kite. And Muddsy then says, there is more than one kite, you know. he,
He's right.
all right.
He's right. He's always right.
He's not wrong. Yeah. It's you know, a little column A, column B. A broken clock is always right twice a day. Okay.
Just like Muzzy,
Yeah, just
who
like
lived in a broken
Muddsy.
clock for 200 years.
Oh my God. Is that his whole thing? They have to make 80% of what he says wrong and 20% right. That's great. So, okay. The next quote. No, no, no. I'm too young to be a victim.
I have no idea. That's incredible. But I imagine it is a moment which he's abandoning the rest of the gang and like leaving them for dead.
It is when the maid was warning them that if they don't leave, they'll be the monster's next victim. Like, yeah, like I'm out of here. If you don't leave, you'll be next, etc.
Okay.
And
Great.
he's like covering his eyes. No, no. Okay. Next quote. This is probably the best one of the entire episode. I had a homely cousin once called Marcia. She was a monster, but I wasn't scared of her.
Damn.
Poor Marcia.
Probably just any time he interacts with her.
Essentially Skip is there, he's searching through a hallway with Skip, and Skip's like, keep your eyes open, Muddsy, we might bump into the marsh monster. So like
yeah, he's just like,
I had a
Ugh.
cousin Marcia.
And Skip's like, no, marsh monster. Leslie doesn't
Which
care.
is no, Mutzi is like in his own world. Okay. All right, three more here. This one. Put up your dukes, or your duchess even.
I don't remember Muzzy actually trying to fight anyone.
That is what's happening. Yeah, I probably didn't totally talk about that in the script, but yeah,
Is
at
that like
one
a
point,
chase scene?
Mudzy, yeah, exactly. He's chasing Skip and Mudzy's like, oh, I'll fight him for a second while you get away, Skip. Yeah. All right,
Good,
two
good.
more. This one's pretty easy, actually. But Mudsy's like, water pump, heavens to Hessians. George Washington and I could have used one of these when we crossed the Potomac River. Those old sailboats were leaky, you know?
Mudzy.
Mudsy, obviously, yes, when they discovered the water pump, that was pretty
Yep,
easy.
yep, yep,
But
yep.
I love that one in particular because he said Hessians, which we've talked about in a previous episode of
Yep.
this. I think actually you talked about it in the Headless Horseman episode. And
Wait, didn't
yeah,
wasn't it also Washington cross the Delaware?
also that. Yes.
That's why I
Yeah.
originally said, "Oh, Mudzy."
Yeah, because and literally that's what April says. She says, "Oh, Mudsy, it was the Delaware River," and Augie is like, "And it was a rowboat." And Mudsy says in response, "Answer me one question. Were you there? That's all I want to know. Were you there?"
Mudzy is sick of them correcting his shit.
Yes, he's done with it. And that's actually like the last thing that like the last historical reference he makes in the episode for the most part. He's like, I'm done. Were you there? And so this is the fifth and final, or the how many six? I don't know. The last very notable Mudsy quote. Guess when he said it, he says, "Oh, you know I'm allergic to ghosts."
Was that when it was the PA system? Thinking it was a ghost.
No, but that would have been good too. Yeah, because that's no, it was while they were walking through the crypt and they heard like the moaning and groaning noises
Even
echoing.
funnier to be in the crypt saying that.
Yeah, yeah. As a ghost who has a cat ghost. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Wow.
Those
He's
were the
perfect.
Mudgy quotes. It was like we could
As
either
always.
just read through them, you could guess where they came from, or alternatively, I was going to say, guess who said this quote? But they were all Mudgy quotes. So I was
And
like,
you
there's
can't
no
say
point.
his quotes without his voice.
Exactly.
It's impossible. Physically impossible.
Yeah. So that is officially the end.
Perfect.
That's all I've got. Yes. Thank you.
Incredible job.
Thank you. Yeah. And I can't wait till next week to hear what you've got. We'll continue on with this absolutely ridiculous show. Not quite as ridiculous as Jabberjaw, I will say, but it is getting very close. So, yeah.
Wow. Great work. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And so until next week, who should they tell about this podcast?
I think you should tell a American Revolution historian. I don't know, probably find a professor, find, I don't know, someone who's written a historical nonfiction book about it. Let them know. Let them hear all these Mudzy quotes and flinch at every time he says one of them.
Cringe,
so inaccurately.
Toss their PhDs into the trash.
Into the ground. Who else did they
This is worthless. So after that, you should tell. Surprisingly, I don't think we've done this. You should tell a maid.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever done that. I could be wrong.
I don't think we have either.
It doesn't seem like one we've done. Yeah, because as sweet Martha was in this episode, they're usually pretty sweet people until you find out they're trying to steal your estate from you. But until that point, like, they're really nice. That one small thing. But like that's why they're really nice to you, because they just want you to like gift you some shit.
Keep them around.
Yeah. So tell a maid. I'm sure they'll love the way all these 70s cartoons depicted them as either like old plump ladies or like very young attractive
Evil.
ladies. Yeah, and like
Trying to steal
evil
a
nonetheless,
fortune.
though. Yes,
Yeah.
always.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Perfect. Wow. Great job. I'm so excited to watch this one.
It's great. You'll love it.
Yes.
And I'm excited to
Perfect.
watch the episode that you do next week. So we'll
Let's
see you
find out.
guys
All
then.
right. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.